Now, to be fair, Kurt was not 100% because he was suffering from neck issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he tied up Daniel. Anyways, it was no contest. So we thought that was it. And that was supposed to be the end of the segment. But Kurt walked over to look at the rest of the guys on the floor and said, okay, do any of you guys want to be next? And Daniel Puder put his hand up. And I looked at Charles and he looked at me and we were like, oh boy, what do we do here? Then I looked at Al Snow and I looked at Al and Al went, and I went, what are you going to do? You're on television now. Kurt's going to do what Kurt's going to do. So they get into it and they start wrestling around and they back up into a corner. And I'm not an MMA expert by any means, but I recognized the key lock or the Kimura that Daniel had Kurt in. And I just thought to myself, this is not good.
Yeah.
Especially for someone who's experiencing issues with his neck and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And I'm going, oh my goodness. So the biggest thought that comes to my mind, because I'm kind of peeking at Al, and Al's got that look on his face like, oh, this is not good. And I'm looking at Charles and we're both thinking, So my big thought was, how do we get out of this? How do we stop this? And by chance, they fell to the canvas and Kurt fell on top. And I don't know what made me think of this. I just dove down and counted 3. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't care what, I'm counting 3 regardless.
Yeah.
Which you saw after 2, Daniel kind of rolled the show. I didn't care. I'm counting 3 because this has to end. Because he wasn't letting go, and Kurt would rather lose his arm than tap to Daniel Puder. You know what I mean? Because that's how he's bred. And so I counted 3, rang the bell. They stood up. Kurt cut a bit of a promo on him, and Daniel was, yes, sir, yes, sir. He says, now get the hell out of my ring. And oh man, that was scary. But the fun part was when I got to the back. I'm walking through Gorilla, and Gerald Briscoe was there. It was Manny Gorilla, because he was the one who was telling me in my earpiece, Jimmy, what are they doing? And I'm like, I don't know. He's kind of going into business for himself anyway. But as I walked through Gorilla, he was quiet, but as I was walking by, I looked at him, he looked at me and gave me the quiet thumbs up. Then I ran into Fit Finley in the back, and Fit looked at me, he says, did they tell you to count? I said, no, I just did it. It wasn't like I was thinking to myself, when I get the chance, I'm going to count. They just fell and I just did it. He says, well, good on you. So, whew.